The crypto market is preparing itself for what many believe to be the most important day in crypto's history. In today's video, we'll be discussing exactly that and how you should be navigating these markets ahead of the White House Crypto Summit. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Let's jump right into the video. Let's kick us off with Bitcoin. As we can see, we discussed this level posing a threat to Bitcoin, and it's exactly what happened, unfortunately. 91.8K is starting to act as resistance for Bitcoin, and we tapped into it as support several times during this range between 91.8K and 106K. But if you've been watching the channel, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So this is a little bit concerning because the diagonal trend line is also posing as resistance for Bitcoin at the current moment. Now, I'm expecting a ton of volatility from now up until the White House Crypto Summit, and so you should plan your trades accordingly. Personally, I still think that we revisit the lows at least around 78K, as we've been talking about on the channel, because of several things. First of all, a lot of people seem to think that we will just easily get a strategic crypto reserve just because it's been talked about by the president. But the reality is there are so many steps to getting this approved, and it'll likely be a very long process. And as we can see here, pro-Bitcoin senator doesn't think Trump's Bitcoin strategic reserve will happen soon. And why, you might ask? Trump's proposal of a U.S. strategic Bitcoin reserve has gained traction among some crypto-friendly U.S. Congress members, though its near-term feasibility is questioned. Wyoming GOP Loomis, who introduced the bill, admits congressional support is lacking. At the Bitcoin Investor Day in New York City, she noted resistance even from fellow Republicans, quoting House Banking Committee Chairman Tim Scott suggesting a delay, highlighting insufficient readiness as the main obstacle. Now that makes a lot of sense because it takes a lot of planning to put something like this in place. And that's only for the strategic Bitcoin reserve. If you start including other cryptocurrencies, the process will likely take even longer. It has to go to Congress, it has to get approval, they have to set a plan in motion, they have to see where the money's even going to come from for them to buy these cryptocurrencies, they have to get contracts from OTC parties, they have to get advice from financial consultants, crypto experts, and they also have to decide how they're actually going to store the cryptocurrency. So much goes into this, especially because, as you know, the government is involved. It's not just an individual that goes on the market, buys a little bit of Bitcoin, and stores it. It's not that easy. So I think that a lot of people don't actually understand how long of a process this can actually be. Now, if we take a look at the Bitcoin chart, look, if you're extra bullish here, what I would be doing, as I mentioned in the previous video, is wait till we get above this level and hold it as support before triggering any kinds of longs, because we are technically still outside of the main range that we've been forming since November. But for now, below 91.8K, I'm still favoring shorts. If you'd like to trade this price action, make sure to click the first link in my description down below. You even get a 50% deposit bonus for joining me. That means that if you go ahead and deposit $2,000 to your week's account, you get $1,000 back for trading purposes. So if you like that kind of bonus and you like trading cryptocurrencies, make sure to click the first link in my description down below. Now, more about the White House Crypto Summit. This is supposedly a leak of the attendees. The most notable names that come out: Michael Saylor, of course. Then we have Brian Armstrong, CEO of Coinbase. We have the co-founder of Chainlink. We have the CEO of Robinhood, CEO of Kraken, CEO of Crypto.com, and CEO of Ripple. Then we have some unconfirmed: Cathie Wood, Vitalik from Ethereum, of course. Then we also have the founder of Cardano, although he came out and said he did not receive an invitation. So this is why you can see that this list is potentially not fully accurate, but I just thought I would share it with you anyways. Looking at the US government and their holdings. As we can see here, they're holding just under 200,000 Bitcoin, with their target being around 1 million Bitcoin for the strategic Bitcoin reserve. Now, a lot of people are speculating here that if they were to even introduce a strategic Bitcoin reserve, they would likely just start with this capital, and they wouldn't necessarily be buying any cryptocurrencies anytime soon. So you do need to consider that as it relates to potential price action for Bitcoin. Perhaps they won't even be buying in the short term, and they'll just be sticking with this current stack. Now, it would definitely be in the US government's interest to actually put together a long-term strategy for Bitcoin, because as we can see, David Sachs came out, the crypto czar for the US. Over the past decade, the federal government sold approximately 195,000 Bitcoins for around $366 million. If the government had held the Bitcoin, it would be worth over $17 billion today. That's how much it has cost American taxpayers not to have a long-term strategy. And I completely agree with him here. A quick thing to bring up, which is not necessarily related, but I just needed to share it with you. Mt. Gox moved over $1 billion worth of Bitcoin. Could there be a shakeup in the market? Only time will tell. The dollar. we are still completely plummeting, which, as you know, is pretty good for risk assets. We are below the 200-day moving average, and we are also below the dollar's bull market support band. So this is something you need to consider as well as it pertains to trading, and it's why I wouldn't be so aggressive with trading. Despite me leaning a little bit more bearish in the short term, I'm not super aggressive in my trades because anything can happen at this point. If we take a look at Ethereum though, I'm just bringing this up because I saw some of your comments asking for me to look at Ethereum, and what we can see here is I'm still going to be accumulating below $2,000. That is my range. Now, down here is the point of control, right around $1,600 for Ethereum, and it's looking like we're about to head lower and lower towards that level. For me, I would consider that an excellent accumulation zone. And just a comment that I got on my video that I wanted to address, which I thought was very interesting to share with you guys. This guy says, everything retraces after a perfect double top from what I've seen to very specific points. Bitcoin just did it. The stock market did it. ETH to $1,100 area would complete it. Probably takes until summer to get that low, but how would alts actually do anything while Ethereum continues to bleed? Seems hopeless to hold anything but Bitcoin or top 10 USA alts in case of new Trump announcements. The gamble doesn't make sense to me here yet to spot anything other than Bitcoin. This is a very valid point, and this is why on the channel we've been talking about having most of your portfolio in Bitcoin over the past few months, because for most people, Bitcoin gives you the highest risk-adjusted returns. If you're not a trader, you should just be holding mostly Bitcoin. Of course, this is not financial advice, but it's just what I would personally be doing if I wasn't actively trading the markets. Now, my spot portfolio is 90% Bitcoin, and I honestly think that most of you should consider that approach as well. It's the golden rule of crypto. I've been around these cycles, and this is the number one thing that most people should be implementing. And also, to address the last part of this comment, I completely agree with Ethereum. I mean, how ETH is performing is usually my number one signal for altcoins. ETH determines the rest of the altcoin market. And so until Ethereum can actually see some upwards momentum above its bull market support band and above the 200-day moving average, holding it as support, then surpassing the highs, I don't think that we will have any kind of sustained altcoin season. You need to consider this. I know a lot of people hate on Ethereum, but for me, it is the number one indicator as to how the rest of the altcoin market can perform over the medium term. Now, short term, of course, there's always some alts that pop off here and there, but for me, Ethereum is the number one indicator that you should be looking at. If Ethereum doesn't show up to the party is canceled. And that sums up today's quick video. If you enjoy the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.